Alice LPS. Hello everyone, and today I'm going to be making a custom My Little Pony of my favourite background pony, Flittler. She is so adorable, how could I not make a custom? I mean, come on, look at that face. Her first appearance was in the episode Hurricane Fluttershy with the iconic line,
"Yeah! What exactly does this machine do?"
Okay, maybe it's not iconic, but most background ponies don't even get speaking roles.
Okay, yes.
Okay, so as a base, I'm going to be using a Fluttershy. I've already prepared her by cutting off her mane, tail, and removing any factory paint with acetone. So she's ready to have a white base coat. I'm going to be using a Neo Iwata airbrush, which was kindly gifted to me from airbrushes.com. I'll have the link to their site in the description box down below. The trick with airbrushing is always do thin, even coats and slowly build them up. I'm starting with spraying her head and then moving on to the body and doing a rotation like that so there's time to dry. Of course you can paint your ponies with paintbrushes, but I prefer using an airbrush because it gives such a professional finish. But if you're going to be using a paintbrush, I'd recommend watering the paint down with either paint thinner or water and do several thin coats for the best results. Now the base coat is done, we're going to be moving on to her true colour, the purple. I'm going with a translucent violet from the brand Comart. I tested it on a bit of tissue first to see how dark it was, and I thought it was the right shade, but as I was putting it on the pony's head it was really dark and it's not a lilac colour, so I ended up changing it out and mixed it with some white, so I'm just pouring it in a cup and gonna make the perfect shade for this perfect pony, you know, she deserves the best. I just made a decent sized batch and eyeballed it. You probably should count your drops in case you need to make a second batch, but like, I'm not about that life. I like to make everything harder for myself. So now I've mixed the perfect colour, I've popped it back in the airbrush, and I'm just spraying it on the horse. Look at her! Oh, it's the perfect shade. So just like the white base, just do thin coats but make it really even and pretty. When I was airbrushing like the pony's belly, I find it really difficult. That's with any custom I've done, like to get in that areas without making the legs too gloopy with paint is a little bit tough, but I think that's something I have to work on. Once that's all done and dry, I'm going to be taking a matte top coat. I'm using a spray one just so it dries nicely and I won't get any paint streaks. I actually wouldn't recommend this brand. I would actually recommend Mr. Super Clear. They're way more better for this kind of thing. For small models, definitely get some MSC. Also, if you're ever going to be using any sort of spray top coat, please wear a mask. These are toxic and you don't want to die from making pony customs. Okay, especially as I know a lot of children watch my channels, please be really careful with the materials you're using. Okay, now that's all done, she is dry, it's time to paint on her cutie mark and her eyes. I'm gonna do like a little white outline of her cutie mark, just so the colours that go over top are really opaque and pretty and I won't have to lather loads of layers on. So I'm drawing in her little dragonflies, are they? Are they dragonflies? I think they're dragonflies. And I'm also painting on the eye whites as well. Look at them go. Ooh. I'm really bad at painting in eyes. If you can't tell already, they're usually uneven and look a little bit lumpy. So I guess I'll work on that in the future. And then I mixed together the perfect mint blue? Mint green? Yeah, mint green. I think it's a mint green. And then doing it on like the bodies of the dragonflies. I hope they're dragonflies. They might be fireflies. So I painted the bodies green. And then I'm painting her eyes a hot pink colour because she has these really pretty eyes. I love it when like characters have really unique eye colours rather than just like blue, green. As I was painting, I accidentally rubbed off her leg paint somehow. I think I had water on my hand. So yeah, I painted that by hand. And when it dried, it was super uneven, so... And you remember what I said earlier about counting the droplets? This is when you would need to count the droplets, because I couldn't get the paint colour to match. So I busted out the airbrush again, tried to mix a similar colour and paint all of the legs. I'm so professional at this. After that I finished up her eyes with the eye blacks and the highlights, and it's time to reroute the pony. Also at this point you should probably do a layer of Mr. Super Clear because I didn't do that and it's a big regret, so use MSC. Time for rerouting. I bought my hair from Retro Dolls UK because it is, I think, one of the only brands in Europe / the UK that have pony hair. The shade is Siren's Tears and it is the perfect shade for Flittler. The hair comes in one really long hank, so you could make a really long pony, like a super Rapunzel pony, but I'm not doing that today. I'm actually gonna fold it in half, cut it, and fold it in half again, and then cut it so it's in 4 chunks. After I did that, I spritzed the hair with a little bit of water because the hair is easier to work with like that, and then I slowly rooted it into the pony. I wouldn't use this as a tutorial because this is my first time actually rerouting a pony properly, and I'm doing it completely wrong. I used a little handmade tool, and that didn't really work out, so I've recently rerouted some other ponies using a rerouting tool that I've purchased online, and it's worked out a lot better, so I'll be using that in some future tutorials and I'll have a better description of how to reroute ponies then. But for now, just enjoy my struggle of trying to reroute Flittler really badly. This is embarrassing to watch. Oh no. Okay, once that is done, I'm going to be sticking on the neck plug. I thought that I recorded myself rerouting her tail as well, but I guess I must have forgotten to hit record. I apologise for that. I'll have a lot more pony custom videos in the future that show you how to reroute tails, so don't worry about that. But her tail is rerouted and it's time to trim. I'm not going to trim too much of the length off just because I'd like to have the longest hair she can because it's pretty, don't want to cut it, and the hair is not too noticeable at the back. I'm not going to be using her in videos that often. So yeah, I'm just going to keep it nice and long and make all the hairs the same length. But for her head, I'm going to cut the hair so it's show accurate. So I've got to cut off all of her beautiful hair. That's so sad. Rest in peace. Oh well, it'll look really cool and show accurate, so it'll be worth it. So I'm just trimming off all the ends so they're not really blunt. Whilst I glued this head plug back in, I was actually soaking the head in some hot water so I can stick the head on really nice and easily. But when I was putting the head back on, I accidentally scratched off a chunk of paint off of her cheek. Oh no, so sad. So I patched that up with a bit of purple paint. Hopefully it's not too noticeable, and I'm gonna part her fringe on that side now just to cover it up a little bit. I'm really sorry. I should be more professional at this, but I'm not. Whilst her wound is drying, I'm gonna be making her little accessory. I'm taking a broken Littler's Pet Shop bow, and I've taken a little sewing pin and stuck it on the back, and I'm gonna use it and slide it into a hole I'm gonna be digging in the back of her skull. Look at that. Just sliding it in there so you can remove it whenever and it doesn't like damage any of the hair. There won't be any glue on there. So that is really great. It turned out really well and it's pretty much the perfect shade of pink. It matches her eyes really well. Now the paint is dry on her head, we can move on to her fringe. I'm just trimming it a little bit. I've put a bit of bubble wrap down to protect her eyes whilst I'm doing this part. I've wet the hair and I'm gonna let it dry to the side so it's easier to work with. And I'm also going to be curling the ends of her hair just to give it a little bit of a cute flick. I'm just using generic plastic straws and some bobby pins. It was a bit tedious, honestly. I used about 3 or 4 bobby pins, but we got there in the end. She is ready. Once she's dry, I took out the bobby pins and all of the other bits and bobs on her face, and she dried like this. Yeah, this is not really what I had in mind. So off camera I decided to do a little straightening treatment and make it a little swoosh like that, and it worked out a lot better. But it's still poking out a little bit, so I'm adjusting the little ends of her hair by using some gel and making it go to one little point. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the elastic around her head again, so it dries nice and show accurately. I left her to dry for a few more hours and she came out exactly like this. And she is done. Oh my gosh. I love her. She came out so perfect. And you can't really see the scuff on her face very badly either. She came out so nicely. I love her so much. Oh my gosh. Let me know what you think of this custom. This is the first time I've used an airbrush on a My Little Pony custom. I messed up a couple of times, as you know, on the base, but for a first time, she came out really, really nicely and I'm really proud of her. If you guys like my My Little Pony and LPS custom videos, please give this video a like, Leave a comment down below what pony I should make a custom of next. Should I make customs of background ponies, some original designs or older generations of ponies, or should I make some customs of some of my friends' OCs? I don't know, let me know what you want to see in the comments down below and I'll take that into consideration. And don't forget to hit the notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys!